Hey friends, Hilsa here. So I'm keeping today super simple and super short. I want to give you a very easeful, actually, it's simple, but I don't know how easy it is. I want to give you a simple roadmap to essentially becoming completely unstoppable and unshakable in creating and receiving exactly what you want in life, in business, in wealth, with a lot more joy and a lot more ease. This is a shift that I made 3 years ago, and it changed everything. So the initial invitation here is that the fastest way to block your results is to actually focus on results. Now, when you are focused on results, you are automatically building resistance, building friction, building doubt, and you are actually foregoing the things that matter. So, to create the outcome you want to shift you want to shift your focus away from chasing and obsessing over results, the fruits, and you want to start moving your focus to nurturing, strengthening, growing your roots, your inner state, and watering the tree, which is essentially doing simple process oriented actions that will collapse time and space between where you want to go and where you are and where you want to go. When you strengthen the roots and you water and fertilize consistently, then the fruits become inevitable. You don't need to focus on them. So essentially, there's a two-part formula to creating unwavering success. The first is inner wealth work, that's nurturing your invisible roots. And the second is outer wealth work or outer wealth strategy, essentially designing and committing to a very simple process that is in your control, some visible aligned actions that you can take sustainably that will collapse time and space and essentially make the fruits inevitable, like watering the tree. So, what is inner wealth work? What do I mean by growing your roots, by strengthening the roots, by focusing on your roots? One of the things you have to understand is that results come slowly and then all at once. Oftentimes, there's a real slow stagnation process where it can feel like nothing is happening. And then there's a pivot point that's hit and momentum shows up and things happen. And so, one of the main things that we have to do is we have to be able to stay steadfast, to stay in certainty, to stay in sovereignty, to stay in openness and in trust through that really kind of dead zone before results starts showing up. And how you hold yourself through that phase defines how the capacity you will have to actually receive, hold, sustain, replicate the results that you want. So the first invitation here, as you're doing this strengthening of the roots, is to not judge your progress, to not focus on what's happening in your results, because that will create friction, frustration, doubt, and that is the result killer. So you want to look at any kind of fear, any kind of self-sabotage, procrastination, any kind of limiting beliefs that are coming up, like no one wants what I have, nothing's working, no one's seeing my content. You want to look at any kind of pattern where there's a fear of success, like being afraid that if you actually get your goal, you're going to lose your freedom, or you're going to be attacked, or everybody's going to want a piece of you. Things that actually are going to create a sort of resistance towards actually achieving what you want. Some other common one as our fear of failure and rejection. And so your big work is to notice every time your system comes into some kind of constriction or contraction, and that you are in the process of creating resistance and sabotaging the momentum that's been slowly building, like underground, where you can't quite see it yet. So your work here, your key practice is to notice when you're coming out of alignment, notice when you're starting to doubt or you're creating friction, to meet your fears with love, to bring yourself back into a sense of safety, to rewire your nervous system and your brain for trust, for a deep, unwavering certainty that your results are on their way and that what you're doing is working and that you are enough exactly as you are. Now, this is the work, this is a shit ton of the work I do with clients. Essentially, how to anchor that next level of leadership so that you can be the version of you who is sovereign and who has the capacity to hold the gap, because the degree to which you can hold this gap with grace is the degree to which you will be able to hold the results you want with grace. So your work, your job is to stay grounded, to regulate your nervous system so that you can stay open, you can stay receptive, you can stay anchored in trust even when it feels like nothing is happening. Trust that the change is happening underneath the surface. Trust that even though you can't see it yet, your results are in the process of showing up. They're on their way to you. Just like when you have a dinner party and you sent out invitation, you get everything ready, you do all the work, you open the door, you can't see your guests yet, but you know that they're coming even though you can't see them yet. And just keep in mind that every time you constrict, every time something starts to feel funky inside, you get deflated, depleted, drained, you start to freeze, you start to doubt, all that constriction, that funkiness is the way that your body is letting you know you're coming out of alignment. It's the way that your body is essentially telling you, hey, our roots need attention. Refocus on the roots. Come back into regulation. Come back into relaxation. Come back into expansion. And every time you do that, every time you notice that you're closing, you notice that you're contracting, and you interrupt that pattern, you interrupt that thought, you interrupt that feeling, you interrupt that sense of depletion and heaviness, and you find your way back into flow, you are literally becoming a bigger version of you. You are literally increasing your capacity. So that's the outer wealth work, the inner wealth work. Now let's talk about outer wealth work. This is all about following a process. The less you obsess about results and the more you show up, the faster the results come. So what you want to do is you want to kind of stay away from outcome-oriented goals. Outcome-oriented goals is, I want to make 100K this month. I want 15 new clients in my program. I want to meet a man who looks like this or a woman who looks like this and is like this and is the love of my life. That's a very specific end of the road goal. You kind of want to know you're moving in that direction, but once you've decided that would be nice to have, you want to literally forget it, drop it, and you want to create what I call process-oriented goals. Outcome-oriented goals, the 10 clients, the 10K months or 100K months, they're essentially out of your control. And because they're out of your control, they always make you feel small. They always make you feel powerless, and they reinforce this sense of not enoughness. They essentially erode your roots. But process-oriented goals are essentially things you can do on a regular basis that are in your control to collapse time and space between where you want to be and between where you're at and where you want to be. So these are like, I'm going to show up every day on Facebook and talk about my offer, or I'm going to do a live training every week, no matter what, or I'm going to reach out to 3 people a day and connect with them personally and ask them if I can help them. Those process goals will build your confidence over time, and they will also build your momentum. So here's a simple plan. Here's essentially what you're doing. You decide on some kind of destination, some kind of outcome goal. You want to have a direction, and then you let go of that. Then you create a very simple action plan. 1 to 3 daily actions that you can take consistently, sustainably, easily. If you don't want to do daily things, it could be, this is what I do every week. And then once you have your plan, You want to stick with it no matter what. And you want to use your inner wealth work every time you start to wobble, every time you start to doubt yourself, every time you start to procrastinate, every time you start to feel heavy, every time you start to decide that what you're doing is not working and you should pivot, you should do something different. Every time you do that, it's like pouring cold water to a pot that is on the heat and wondering why it's taking so long to boil. So you want to stick to the plan and you want to just focus on watering the tree and fertilizing on a regular basis and then working on the roots. Stop chasing shiny object. Do not pivot. Do not start to doubt. Just stay steadfast. Your job is to trust that your results are on your way, to show up, to stay steady in this kind of flat, invisible, nothing much is happening phase, because results are like a tsunami. At first, nothing's happening. Actually, the water's receding, and then the results come. Remember that who you are and how you show up in this flat phase define how big your results are going to be, and define how easily you're going to be able to hold them and replicate them. So here's your 3 steps. Well, actually, it's 4. Decide what you want, then forget it. Design and follow a simple plan of action to collapse time and space between where you are and where you want to be. Tend to your roots, regulate your nervous system, re-anchor trust, stay open, stay in a place of receptivity and welcoming, expand your inner state over and over and over. And then 4th, trust the timing. Those first 3 things are yours to do. You set a destination, you put together and follow a simple plan, you tend to your roots and stay strong and stay sovereign and stay expanded. That's in your control. The timing, how quickly the fruit grows, how quickly it ripens, how quickly it falls off the tree, that is not in your control. That is life's job. It's not your business. The fruit will fall when it is ripe. And trust that it will fall when you are ripe to receive it as well. In the end, life is always working for you. Even when it feels like it's not working, it is working. You just can't see it yet. And just know that if you are in a situation where you feel like you've been doing a lot of stuff and you're still not seeing results, like that fucking fruit is taking forever to grow and to ripen, then know that that's because life is working on you in some ways. When life is not working for you, it's because it's working on you so that it can work for you. You are becoming a version of you who will have the capacity, who will have the roots that are deep and strong enough to actually be able to sustain and welcome the fruits that you are wanting. So my invitation to you is, don't build the rest of your year on results. Build it around becoming the version of you who can show up consistently, who can stay steadfast and sovereign and still through any storm, so that your capacity is being built, your roots are growing deeper and stronger, and you're going to be able to receive those results and hold them and replicate them with ease. Be more committed to your roots and to watering the tree than you are to the fruit. Because when you do that, the fruits are inevitable. Your success is inevitable. And if you want help with that, if you want help becoming that steadfast, still, sovereign, unshakable version of you that trusts, that knows, that follows through without wobbling, then I would love to help you. If you look in the description of this video, you will find 3 simple ways that we can go deeper. One of them is just a one-off 90-minute intensive where we can kind of do some anchoring work, and I will give you a process to essentially re-anchor yourself in expansion and come out of contraction that you can use forever, over and over and over. There's also a free mini course in there if you're not quite ready to work with me directly. And I'm also inviting you, if you know you want to work over longer term, I'm your person, this is the work you need, then I'm inviting you to book a free call where we can kind of define exactly what is it you need, and we can choose the package that's going to fit you best and get started. When I work with clients, essentially what you get is customized, guided nervous system expansion, brain rewiring, body calibration work, along with simple strategies to essentially double your income while also doubling your ease and your free time. I'll show you how to shift your mood, how to shift your energy out of overwhelm, out of frozenness and doubt and contraction, back to a sense of flow, of excitement, of motivation, and even a sense of peace and trust. And I'm going to show you how to do that in minutes. I'll help you unlock what I call your boundless body, that sense of spaciousness and aliveness inside you, and activate that next level leadership so that you can move past any kind of invisible barrier that to this point have kept you small, have kept you silent, and have kept your income capped. And I will teach you how to be so authentically yourself that you are effortlessly seen and recognized by those who are meant to be in your field. And that every choice you make and the way you design your life and your business is literally a living embodiment of your truest self-expression. In our work together, I will show you how to embody a new paradigm of being regulated, of being relaxed, of being resourced as you create more revenue and become rich in all the ways that are defined by that word. Inner richness, outer richness. Because in the end, it's all about feeling deeply fulfilled and deeply nourished by your life, by your business, and by your receivership. And this isn't just something that we get to create if we work hard. This is a right. It is your birthright. And I would love to be part of that journey with you. All right. That's what I have. See you hopefully next week. Mwah.